So in Natchitoches, back in 2022, while I was waiting on my trial, between January and April, I heard gunfire almost every night. And I am 90% sure that a lot of that gunfire was happening by the cops, driving around. They know the isolated places where they can get away with firing off rounds and firing them off, creating panic in the city. And they were doing that before I arrived. And because the heightened security, uh, that people were paranoid about the gunfire happening all over, there was a lot more arrests and calls to the police, the very police who were running around shooting their weapons off in the city. More people were calling those cops, reporting this. More people were getting paranoid. The news reports were coming out that there was more gunfire, and more people were getting arrested. More people were holding on to guns, carrying guns. More people were calling in gun activity behavior, and then I just show up and decide to visit the library, carrying a few extra things. I think mostly to charge things. And I get accused of carrying guns into the library. I mean, it's the cops that caused this problem in the first place, firing their weapons off in the city and creating that paranoia at the start, which can lead to more arrests. They create more paranoia so that they have more reason to cause more arrests, and they get full support from these judges. And it just boggles my mind. I know of another guy who seemed to have become so paranoid he actually pulled a gun on a cop before I arrived, and and then I think he's still in jail. He was given probation, and then told not to carry any weapons. But then he was searched. His house was searched, and they found a body armor. So they called that a weapon. The cops called that a weapon, and that was enough. I mean, when I got back here in 2024 and waited on more trial dates, I didn't hear nearly as much gunfire. How would it dramatically drop like that? Okay, it's because of the programs that the police were engaged in, which they're not willing to disclose. They're not, these cops aren't even willing to disclose their police policies, let alone the details of the programs that they're instituting. I think there was an increase in buying of probably blank bullets. They probably have an inventory of blanks that they used just to make it safer to shoot off gunfire in the city. In 2024 and 2025, I guess November to January, I heard a lot of fireworks, okay? And on New Year's Day, I think I heard gunfire while I was near the library. I think I even heard a little pew, like a bullet came crashing down not too far from me. But that was about the only time I heard gunfire that I could decipher from the fireworks. Fireworks is pretty popular during Christmas and New Year's, but it's distinct. Fireworks are distinct from gunfire. And to hear gunfire from January 22nd, or after that, January 26th, all the way through to April 11th, okay, and then a couple of months while I was hanging out around the library, the Walmart, and various places in the city, I'd hear gunfire at night. That's very distinct. That was not fireworks, and I'm sure that it was the cops, and I think it was a program that they had in 2022 and before that they were not participating in 2024. And I mean, how do people describe it? How do people deal? How do people report that the police are engaged in the gunfire? All right, the closest I ever come to discovering a cop firing off guns was like in Delray, Texas. Watched a cop pull in behind the Walmart, and then I heard gunfire. And the Walmart behind it is nothing but a field. There's no housing. There was just an isolated. The Walmart's like on the outside of the city, and I mean, it was pretty clear to me that it was a cop. I walked back there, and I smelt the gun smoke. I didn't see any rounds. I think he picked them up, but it's possible that he just shot off blanks. And then somebody from a hotel called, and I was as I was walking back there, some other patrols showed up, and I asked about the guy that shot off the rounds, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he went to go talk to the caller." Okay, while these other guys showed up, there was a guy already behind that Walmart who the cops were called. The cops were called. He was behind there, but he left to have to go to talk to the caller. And it was a stupid explanation, but they say it with confidence because that's what they're trained to do. And I'm supposed to trust them. So this gunfire that was happening led to a lot of arrests. It's leading to my 3-year battle. Okay. And without being able to do any decent public records requests, they're getting denied by the judge. I mean, how do I make the arguments? Okay, the judge is actively preventing me from arguing that it's the police that are increasing the hysteria within the city, leading to more arrests, leading to people getting more assault gun charges and all of that. Yeah, and I mean, unless the cops get caught, but these cops are paid to travel around the city, learn where the spots are that they can hang out. In my travels, I've come across quite a few spots where, I mean, I see them on Google Maps, they look attractive to me, some isolated spot, and then I'll see a cop pull up to it, possibly hang out if they can hang out in a distance, or just get close to me, check me out, and then leave. Like, I took their spots. I took their hiding spot. I mean, literally, that one cop in Menominee, Wisconsin gave me a parking ticket for where I was parked at because I took his spot. Okay? That's a good spot that I took. And then when he left and I was walking to the library, I think he was so unsatisfied. I think he wanted me to leave, and then after I left, he would take my spot. I think that was in his intention, and he went to the library parking lot to watch me, see if I would leave, and he saw me walking up to him, and he immediately left again because he was afraid I was going to approach him. But this was over in a large way. It was over me taking the cop's parking spot. So they want to create hysteria in the cities, and then also enjoy their parking spots where they can relax, maybe have a snooze. I mean, I've seen it. I recorded a cop who backed up in a parking lot recently, and I could see him from the library. There's the observation deck. It's kind of a rare thing, but he looked around, and he saw me, and he's like, "Hey, can I help you?" And um, it was a nice hiding spot for the guy. But I mean, they're creating these issues. If I show up in a spot where where they normally like to hang out, I get investigated closer. And if they're going to be shooting guns off in the air, suddenly people carrying bigger backpacks are going to be more suspect because there's more hysteria over gunfire. There's more activity with the gunfire. And in that Natchitoches library, the cops are hanging out all day. They're keeping their cop cars parked in the parking lot all day. There's more activity happening there, and the librarians are more comfortable than average to call the cops over that. And I mean, clearly in my videos, you could see there was that white-haired guy cop who was there, but not in uniform. So, I mean, they just he probably advised them to call the cops. But a lot of people have ended up in jail and have become paranoid over these programs that the police engage in, and they just don't seem to get exposed because it's just the perfect program that they can keep uh, like keep it low key where they don't have to reveal anything. The activity is that they're likely using blanks, that they got maybe a separate way to buy these blanks, these extra bullets for the gunfire in the city. Maybe it's on a different kind of a budget. Maybe they do it in a way that, the mayor doesn't ask what's going on. So it's just some kind of deep city, not exactly deep state. Not every city participates in that type of program, but and I've never heard talk about it, but it's something that you don't teach in college. It's not something that you talk about. These are the underground activities that they're engaged in, but it causes people's lives to get turned upside down because of the added paranoia in this gunfire activity. And I'm still fighting them 3 years later over this, which I don't think would normally have happened. I've walked into other libraries with no problems whatsoever, many libraries, and it's still going on with these guys. And it's I think it's directly related to the police programs that they're implementing. But how do I prove it? How do you get them to snitch? I think the one who's got caught selling illegal stuff out of the evidence locker room would be a key witness. He's likely would have a lot of knowledge about what's going on here. If they're confiscated, I mean, they don't just they probably confiscate a lot of bullets. So maybe they don't have to buy them so much. They could just take them from the evidence locker.